तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं प्रजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादं सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्नति नाम नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रसादिने निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे सर्वशास्त्रार्थ पीयूष सर्वैक सत्फल सर्व सिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलौकिक दृक्प्रद सर्व भागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभो कालिध्वांतो विदादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवशरायते सर्वदा सर्वसेव श्री कृष्णाय नमस्तु मदेग बंधो मत्संगी मद्गुरो मन्महाधना मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते साधु साधुतादाय नतिनीचोच्चताकर आनंद चकदाशिन मां प्रेमनाथ कंठय वस्पुरा ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय okay here okay. Krishna Chakravarti Thakur is explaining the second half of this verse. It refers to a person who happens to associate with the devotee whose heart always hankers after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance. So, first of all, he began by quoting Srila Sridhar Swami about the word tu here, tu meaning but, because it contrasts with other people. It is talking. It shows that these persons whose heart always hanker after your lotus feet and so on, they are distinct from materialistic persons. And then Krishna Chakravarti Thakur continues, Bhaktanam nishkamatva dyotakaha swabhavaha eva ayam. This is the nature of the devotees, which reveals their desireless nature. Vastutastu katham anuvartatam bhava bhayam tava yad bhrukutihi srijati muhu trinimira bhavat praneshu bhayamiti. Jarayatyasu yakosham nigirnam amlo yatha ityade annanu samhitam bhaktih palam samsara nivrittir asyeva. In reality, even though they do not desire freedom from material existence, on the basis of various statements of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kathamana Vardhatam Apurait. Trace it out. Where it is. Yeah. This is too small. Maybe I should make it 100%. Here, it's quoting this. This is 10.87.32. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings render potent loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. Indeed, how indeed can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? On the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows, the triple-rimmed wheel of time, repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. And then there is the other statement. Jarayatyasu yakosham niginam analoyatha. Bhakti devotional service dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort, just as fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. So from these two statements, it is understood, and statements like this, other statements like this, it is understood that the unintended effect of bhakti uh, is uh, being relieved from material existence itself. That is there. That unintended effect or side benefit of bhakti is definitely there, even though the desired devotees may not desire that also. A special advantage in devotion service is that devotees not only enjoy the transcendental pastimes of the Lord by hearing and chanting and glorifying them, but also are not very much attached to their bodies, unlike the yogis who are too attached to the body and who think that by performing bodily gymnastic exercises, they will advance in spiritual consciousness. Yogis are generally not very much interested in devotional service. They want to regulate the breathing process. This is simply a bodily concern. Here, Dhruva Maharaj plainly says that a devotee has no more bodily interest. He knows that he is not the body. Therefore, from the very beginning, without wasting time on bodily exercises, a devotee searches out a pure devotee and simply by his association becomes more advanced in spiritual consciousness than any yogi. Because a devotee knows that he is not the body, he is never affected by bodily happiness or distress. He is not interested in bodily relationships with wife, children, home, bank balance, etc., or in the distress and happiness which come from these things. This is the special advantage of being a devotee. This status of life is possible only when a person is interested in associating with the pure devotee who always enjoys the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. 13. Triyang Nagap Dvijasaris Sripadeva Daitya Martyadibih Parichitam Sadasad Vishesham Rupam Sthavishtamajate Mahadadyanekam Natah Param Paramavetmina Yatra Vada. My dear Lord, O Supreme Unborn, I know that the different varieties of living entities, such as animals, trees, birds, reptiles, demigods, and human beings, are spread throughout the universe, which is caused by the total material energy. And I know that they are sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest. But I've never experienced the supreme form I behold as I see you now. Now, all kinds of methods of theorizing have come to an end. Nanu tarhi bhavapyaya evam vidvanapi tvam kim ityabhimanam vahasyate. This is correctly typed. Wait, trace this out. What is this 13? Or I have something else. I have something else. Tiryak Naga, this is how it is. But this. This is Sridhar Swami. This is Sridhar Swami. Anyway, let me just read out. Nanu evam chet janasi tarhi mat pitradi praptebhyah api utkrishtam padam sadhayani iti sankalpya kim iti tat bhajanam akarshi tatraha tiryagadibhyah. So then Dhruva Maharaj anticipates that Lord Narayana will be thinking, no, If you were to think all these things, if you know all these things, then why did you resolve that I will achieve post that is superior even to that which was attained by my father and his father and his father? Why did you think all these things and engage in devotion service to me? Tatraha, anticipating all that, he speaks the current verse. Tiryagadibhihi परिचितं व्याप्तं सन्तः असन्तः च विशेष यस्य तत् महद् आदीनि अनेकानि कारणानि यस्य तत् स्थविष्टं विराट रूपमेव तव अहं वेद्मि. I know that this universe is your Virat Rupa, your universal form. And this universal form is understood from the various species of life who inhabit it. It is all over me. There are various pious and impious distinctions, characteristics within this universe. It has a series of causes, beginning with Mahatattva. So this gross universe, this Virat Rupa, I know it is a form of yours. Vartamana samipye vartamana vad va iti. According to a grammatical rule, the usage of the present tense also refers to the tenses that immediately border it. That means we can use the present tense to refer to the immediate past. We can use the present tense to refer to the immediate future also. Etavantam kalam avedisham ityartha. So far, this is what I knew. Ataha stavishtat param etat aprakritam chidananda ghanam tava swarupam he parama na avedisham. But superior to that universal form, that gross form, which is this universe of yours, is this form which I am directly experiencing. This is your non-material form that is concentrated knowledge and bliss. O Supreme Lord, this I did not know. This I did not realize. Yatra vadaha shabda vyaparaha nasti. Regarding this form, there is no discussion in the Vedas. Vedic sound does not deal with this. Tad brahma swarupam cha na avedisham. Sorry. I'm saying that feature about which there is no discussion in Vedic sound. That refers to your Brahman feature. That also I did not know. Ateva balatvena agyatvat tatha durbhavanam akaravam. Therefore, as a child, due to ignorance, I came up with a wrong conception. Sampratam tu tadiya tvadiya, it must be tvadiya. Tvadiya kambusparsham prapya. Right now, I have attained the touch of your conch shell. Sarvameva vedartham agyasisham. Now I got to understand all the teachings and the purports of the Vedas. Ataha evam Srimad Charaneshu nivedayami. Therefore, I am submitting all that I have realized unto your sacred lotus feet. This is the implication here. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He has spread Himself throughout the universe. But although everything is resting upon him, he is aloof. The same concept is expressed herein by Dhruva Maharaj. He states that before seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, he had experienced only the varieties of material forms, which are counted at 8,400,000 species of aquatics, birds, beasts, etc. The fact is that unless one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, it is impossible to understand the ultimate form of the Lord. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhakti-vaibhava avijanati, factual understanding of the absolute truth, who is the Supreme Person, cannot be obtained by any process other than devotional service. Dhruva Maharaj here compares his previous state of understanding with the perfection of understanding in the presence of the Supreme Lord. The position of a living entity is to render service. Unless he comes to the stage of appreciating the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he engages in the service of the various forms of trees, reptiles, animals, men, demigods, etc. One can experience that one man engages in the service of a dog, another serves plants and creepers, another the demigods, and another humanity, or his boss in the office. But no one is engaged in the service of Krishna. Meaning, no one is voluntarily engaged in the service of Krishna. Meaning, practically no one is engaged in the voluntary service of Krishna. Aside from common men, even men who are elevated in terms of spiritual understanding are at the utmost engaged in the service of the Virat Rupa, or unable to understand the ultimate form of the Lord. They worship voidism by meditation. Dhruva Maharaj, however, had been blessed by the Supreme Lord. When the Lord touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead, real knowledge was revealed from within. Dhruva could understand the Lord's transcendental form. Dhruva Maharaj here admits that not only was he ignorant, but by years he was only a child. It would not have been possible for an ignorant child to appreciate the supreme form of the Lord had he not been blessed by the Lord who had touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead. 14. Kalpanta etadakhilam jatharena grihnan shete puman swadriggananta sakhastadanke yannavi sindhu ruha kanchana loka padma garbhe dyuman bhagavate pranatosmi tasmai. My dear Lord, at the end of each millennium, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Buddha Vishnu, dissolves everything manifested within the universe into his belly. He lies down on the lap of Sheshananga. From his navel sprouts a golden lotus flower on a stem, and on that lotus, Lord Brahma is created. I can understand that you are the same Supreme Godhead. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Nano mam janasi chet tvam aham parikshishye kathaya koham iti tatraha kalpante iti tribhi. If you actually know me, then I will test you. Tell me, who am I? Therefore, Dhruva speaks 3 verses beginning with the current verse. Swasmin eva drik natu bahir yasya yoga nidra rudhatva. The Supreme Lord's vision, Garbhodakashayi vision, the vision of Lord Garbhodakashayi Vishnu at the time of dissolution was only focused on himself, not on anything outside. Because he was completely immersed in his yoga nidra. Tasya anantasya sheshasya anke utsangi shete. Tatanke means tasya anantasya sakasya anke shete. Utsange shete. Then that Supreme Lord, he lies down on Anantashesha. Yasya nabhi sindhu ruhe, nabhi kamale, agantukam, kanchanavarnam loka atmakam, yat padmam, tasya garbhe, garnikayam, divam, tejasvi, brahmam bhavati. This is all. From his navel sprouts a golden lotus flower on a stem, and on that lotus, the powerful Lord Brahma comes about. Tasmai tam tvam pratadayitum natosmi kevalam. You are that Supreme Being. And I can simply offer my obeisances unto you to please you. Natu paricharitum kimapi shaknomi iti bhava. The implication is, um, I can only offer my obeisances unto you in order to please you. I'm not capable of menially serving you. Dhruva Maharaj's understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete. In the Vedas, it is said, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvamevam Vikyatam Bhavati. Knowledge received through the transcendental causeless mercy of the Lord is so perfect that by that knowledge, the devotee becomes acquainted with all the different manifestations of the Lord. Lord Kshirodakshayi Vishnu was present before Dhruva Maharaj, who could also understand the Lord's two other forms, namely Garbhodakshayi Vishnu and Karnodakshayi Mahavishnu. Regarding Mahavishnu, it is stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.48. यस्यैक निश्वसित कालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोम विलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर्महान् स इह यस्य कला विशेषो गोविन्दमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. At the end of each and every millennium, when all the material worlds are dissolved, everything enters the body of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who is lying on the lap of Sheshanag, another form of the Lord. Those who are not devotees cannot understand the different forms of Vishnu and their positions in regard to the creation. Sometimes the atheists argue, how can a flower stem sprout from the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu? They consider all the statements of the Shastras to be stories. They think that these are all fantasies. As a result of their inexperience in the absolute truth and their reluctance to accept authority, they become more and more atheistic. They cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. But a devotee like Dhruva Maharaj, by the grace of the Lord, knows all the manifestations of the Lord and their different positions. It is said that anyone who has even a little of the Lord's grace can understand His glories. Others may go on speculating on the absolute truth, but they will always be unable to understand the Lord. In other words, unless one comes in contact with the devotee, it is not possible to understand the transcendental form or the spiritual world and its transcendental activities. 15. Tvam nitya mukta parishuddha vibuddha atma kutastha adi purusho bhagavam striyadhishaha yad buddhyavastithim akhandita yasva drishtya drashta stitavadhimakho vyatirikta asse. My Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activities. You are eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the super soul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead, full with 6 opulences, and you are eternally the master of the 3 modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Nanu, mamapi shayana adi avastha vatve ko jivad visheshaha. So, I also undergo states such as sleeping. So then what is the difference between me and the jiva? Tatraha. Anticipating that the Lord would have such a question, Dhruva speaks the current verse. Yad yataha tvam nityamuktaha jivaha tu tvat prasadat muchyate tvam parishuddhaha sacham malinaha. No, because you are eternally liberated. The jiva is liberated by your mercy. Tvam parishuddhaha. You are completely pure. Sacha malinaha. The jiva is contaminated. Tvam vibhuddhaha. Sarvagyaha. You are in complete knowledge, which means you are omniscient. Satu alpagyaha. The jiva knows little. Tvam atma. Satu dehadhyasi jadaha. You are the ultimate atma, but he has been superimposed upon with the body. 1 minute, let me just check if the reading is correct. Dekhadyasi jadaha. Okay. He is talking of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is the living entity who is covered by a subtle body and a gross body. So overall, there's a material covering on him. Whereas the Supreme Lord, he is the pure soul, pure Supreme Soul. Tvam kutasthaha nirvikaraha satuvikari. You are kutastha. You are situated at the highest summit of existence, which means you are untransformed. But the conditioned soul, the jiva, he is a vikari. He is subject to transformations. Yadva, or else. Tvam kutastha ekarupataya kalavyapi satu nanaarupataya eva. Kutastha, this is a reference to Amara's definition of kutastha. In a single form, you are all pervasive through time, whereas the conditioned soul is all pervasive through time, through various forms, through a series of various forms. Means that in this life I may be a human being, next life I may be some lower species, next life I may be a demigod, whatever, like that. So the conditioned souls, they have various forms. Even though the jivatma, the pure jivatma may be eternal, the conditioned soul overall is like that. Tvam adihi karanam. You are the original, which means you are the source. Purusha akarahacha. You are the Purusha, which means you have the form of a Purusha. Satu na karanam. The conditioned soul is not the cause. Stri pum napumsaka akarahacha. And the conditioned soul has the form of a female or a male or a napumsaka, neuter gender. The Supreme Lord is male in form. Original spiritual prototype male. Tvam Bhagavan, you are Bhagavan. Satu Bhagahinaha, you possess all opulences. The conditioned soul is devoid of all opulences. Tvam Triyadhishaha, Satu Trigunadhinaha. You are the controller of the three modes of material nature, whereas he is under the control of the three modes of material nature. Tvam Buddhyavastitim, Jivasya Buddhehe Avastham. Swapa adikam akhanditaya swadrishtya chit shaktya sakshittvena drashta. You, as a witness, continuously perceive the various situations of the consciousness of the jiva. In other words, through unbroken internal vision, which signifies that through his spiritual potency, through your spiritual potency, you directly perceive the various states of consciousness of the jiva, such as sleep, such as waking state, dream sleep, dreamless sleep. Satu buddhi avasthabhi khandita drishtihi. Whereas the vision of the conditioned soul, the jiva, is broken up by the various states of his consciousness. Tvam sthitau sarva jagat palane karmani ase sadhu swa palanepi asamarthaha. You are situated in your activity of protecting the entire universe. The conditioned soul, he is incapable of even protecting himself. Tvam adhimakhaha makhadi karma adhisthata. You are the superintendent of the sacrifices. You are the superintendent of the various Vedic rituals, such as the sacrifices. Satu makhadi karma adhinaha. Whereas the conditioned soul is under the control of the karmic reactions that are produced by activities such as fire sacrifices. Atastvam yasman vyatirikta evasya. Therefore, because you are distinct, tava yoga nidradikam tu chit vilasa iti janami eva iti bhava. So I understand that your yoga nidra and so on are simply pastimes with your spiritual potency. I know this for sure. This is the implication. An atheistic argument against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead states that if God, the Supreme Person, appears and disappears and sleeps and awakens, then what is the difference between God and the living entity? Dhruva Maharaj is carefully distinguishing the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from that of the living entities. He points out the following differences. The Lord is eternally liberated. Whenever he appears, even within this material world, he is never entangled by the three modes of material nature. He is therefore known as Triyadhisha, the master of the three modes of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita 7.14, it is said, Daivi Shesha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratyaya. The living entities are all entangled in the three modes of material nature. The external energy of the Lord is very strong, but the Lord, as a master of the three modes of material nature, is ever liberated from the action and reaction of those modes. He is therefore uncontaminated, as stated in the Ishopanishad. The contamination of the material world does not affect the Supreme Godhead. Krishna therefore says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are rascals and fools think of him as an ordinary human being, not knowing his Param Bhavam. Param Bhavam refers to his being always transcendently situated. Material contamination cannot affect him. Another difference between the Lord and the living entity is that a living entity is always in darkness. Even though he may be situated in the mode of goodness, there are still so many things which are unknown to him. But it is not the same for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows past, present, and future, and everything that is happening in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Vedaham samatitani. The Lord is not part of the soul. He is the unchangeable super soul. And the living entities are his parts and parcels. The living entity is forced to appear in this material world under the direction of Daiva Maya. But when the Lord appears, he comes by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. Besides that, the living entity is within the time of past, present, and future. His life has a beginning, a birth, and in the conditioned state, his life ends with death. But the Lord is Adi Purusha, the original person. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma offers his respect to the Adi Purusha, Govinda, the original person who has no beginning. Whereas the creation of this material world has a beginning. The Vedanta says, by Vedanta Prabhupada means, the Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadhyasya yataha. Everything is born from the Supreme. But the Supreme has no birth. He has all the six opulences in full and beyond comparison. He is the master of material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstances. And he stands aloof, although he is a maintainer of the whole creation. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanaham. The Lord is the supreme maintainer. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices, for he is the rightful enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Therefore, everyone should engage himself in the devotion service of the Lord with his life, his riches, his intelligence, and his words. This is the original constitutional position of the living entities. One should never compare the sleeping of an ordinary living entity to the sleeping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the causal ocean. There is no stage at which the living entity can compare to the Supreme Person. The Mayavadi philosophers, being unable to adjust to all this, come to the conclusion of impersonalism or voidism. 16. Yasmin viruddha gatayo hyanisham patanti vidyadayo vividashaktaya anupurvyat tad brahma vishwa bhavam ekam anantam adyam anandamatram avikaramaham prapadye. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same supreme, same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Okay, just 1 minute, I just thought of something. read out this unfold. Very, very interesting. विरुद्धगतयः परस्परविरुद्धाः गतिः स्वभावः येषां ते विद्या आदयः विद्या सर्ग संहार आदयः भिन्न आशयाः विविध शक्तयः अनिशं निरन्तरं यस्मिन् भगवति आनुपूर्व्याः निरन्तरेण पतन्ति अकस्मात् उद्भवन्ति तत् विश्वभवं विश्वस्य भवं जन्म यस्मात् तम् एकम् अखण्डम् अनन्तम् आद्यम् अनादि आनन्दमात्रम् अविकारं ब्रह्म भगवन्तम् अहं प्रपद्ये शरणं व्रजामि. I surrender unto that Brahman, which refers to Bhagavan, who is untransformed, who is nothing but bliss, who is beginningless, who has no end, who is one alone, that means who is not fragmented. Depending on whom uninterruptedly the various energies which are potentialities, different potentialities for bringing about knowledge, ignorance, creation, destruction, and so on, which are mutually opposed to each other naturally. All of them come about suddenly and uninterruptedly under him. And he is, you are him, that supreme being, from whom this entire universe has taken birth. Savishesham Bhagavad Swarupam Uktva Nirvishesha Brahma Swarupamaha. This is another interpretation. Vishwanath Chakravarti's interpretation. The Bhagavatam verse can also refer to this. Having described the personal Bhagavan feature of the Lord, he then describes the impersonal Brahman feature, Yasminiti, Nirvikaram, Kevalam, Anandamatram Eva. Nirvikaram indicates that this feature is pure and it is nothing but bliss. Nityachid Atmaka Nana Vishesha Grahana Asamarthanam Durasthanam Kevala Shantanam Bhakti Mishra Jnana Drishtya Bhatam Tad Brahma Twan Mahima Swarupam Prapadye. I surrender unto that feature which is your greatness, that Brahman, which is revealed to those who are only in, those who are purely in Shanta. That means those who are in pure Shanta Rasa, through their vision of Bhakti Mishra Jnana. Bhakti Mishra Jnana means Jnana is predominant, Bhakti is subordinate. Through Bhakti Mishra Jnana, that Brahman is revealed to them. Because these Kevala Shantas, these kinds of devotees, they are situated very far away from the Lord. And they are incapable of grasping the various varieties that are eternal and fully spiritual in the Supreme Absolute Truth in his Bhagavan feature. Yasmin nishaktikattvena pratite api vidya adayaha vividha shaktayaha anisham stita anupurvya patanti pratitya bhavanti. Even though that Brahman is the Supreme Absolute Truth who is perceived as being devoid of potencies, Vidya and various other potencies are constantly and sequentially coming within that absolute truth. Ateva tvam bhakti tartamyena. What is this? Mipya तारतम्यवतां विशेष तारतम्य ग्रहण समर्थानां मुक्तिमिश्र ज्ञानिभ्यः किंचित अधिक भक्तिमता प्रथमं विद्याशक्तिमान् आत्मा इति भासि ततः अपि अधिक भक्तिमतां मायाशक्तिमान् पुरुषः जगत् कारणमिति. These are very interesting analysis. Okay, so therefore, in accordance with the gradation of bhakti, that means in accordance with the gradation of how close one is to the Supreme Absolute Truth, Bhagavan, you have those who are capable of grasping the gradations of the varieties of the Absolute Truth, the internal varieties of the Absolute Truth. So then, in line with this, there are some who are slightly superior to Bhakti Mishra Gyanis. These have devotional service to Lord Vishnu. So initially, for those who are slightly more advanced than Bhakti Mishra Gyanis, those whose Vishnu Bhakti is higher than the other ones, you are revealed as the Atma who possesses Vidya as your potency. Now, Tatopi, Tatopi. And then higher than that, there are those who have greater Vishnu Bhakti. And for them, you are revealed as Maya Shaktiman, as that Purusha who is the cause of the universe. Ateva Vishwabhavam iti Visheshanam. Therefore, here Vishwabhavam comes. So Vishwabhavam, the cause of material creation. This expression is used here. This is an adjective. Tataha Sampurna Bhakti Drishtya. And then through complete vision of the absolute truth, through complete bhakti, Aishwarya Madhurya Adi Ananta Shaktiman Bhagavan iti. Then he is perceived as the unlimited, the possessor of unlimited potencies, the one who is filled with Aishwarya Madhurya and so on. He is perceived as Bhagavan. Notice the word Anantam. Tatrapi atipravishta dhyam leela lavanya kala kutuhula vaidagdhi mahodadhariti tvam anubhava gochari bhavasi. And for those whose intelligence have entered completely into the Supreme Absolute Truth, you are within their experience as a great ocean of charming pastimes and cleverness in curious acts and being engaged in various sportive, curious activities and arts, arts, and so on. Yatha nagarasya atidurastha janaha vishesham anupalabhamana idam agre sthitam vastumatram iti. Just as people who are very far away from a city, they are not able to see the various distinctions of a city. So they just understand there is something. Tadeva pashyanti an atidurasthaha vriksha shandamiti. That very same city is seen by those who are not too far away from that city as a collection of trees. Samipasthaha tu vividha nishkuta atta pura gopura griha dvaja pataka adi yuktam nagarameti. Those who are close by, then they see other features of the city. What is Nishkuta? These are all very interesting words. Nishkuta, Atta. What is this? 1 minute. Let me first of all see whether it's typed correctly. Atta, Atta. Nishkuta, Atta, Pura, Gopura, Griha, Dvaja, Patakadi, Tamanaga. So one sees that this city has flags, banners, homes, gopuras. It has internal sections. It has other features. What is Mishputa? There are other features, various other features. इति तत्र प्रविष्टाः तु विचित्र तटाग रथ्या विपणि शृङ्गाटका अजिर नृत्य गीत वादित्रादि सकल सुखास्पदम् इति अनुभवन्ति. And then those who enter into the city experience it as a source of all kinds of happiness. They see various kinds of lakes, they see various highways, they see marketplaces, they see various other features. They see, what is this? Tall buildings, maybe. Anyway, there are various other features. They see dancing, singing. Then they see people speaking and so on. There's so many things they see. Yatha, who, prancho, pi. Oh, from here only Baladev Vidyabhushan has got it. See, Baladev Vidyabhushan is simply following Vishwanath Chakravarti. Just as even an ancient authority has stated, Chayastusham ityavadharitam pura tatha shaririti vibhavakritim vibhur vivukta vayavahpumaniti kramadamum narada ityabhodhi saha. Okay, who else has referred to this? It is simply Vishwanath Chakravarti. This is great. Okay, this is a statement from Shishupala Vadha, which is a famous sophisticated poem on how Shishupala was killed. It was written by one Magha, a talented poet. The details are taken from Mahabharata Bhagavatam, and this describes how Narada had appeared in an assembly. The assembly where eventually Shishupala will be killed. So, when Narada appeared, first of all, Narada was seen as simply a collection of illumination. And then afterwards, when they looked further close, much with intensity, with attention, then they saw that, oh, here is somebody who has a body, who has a form. And then they noticed that he's a very powerful person and he has distinct bodily features, like a male. And then gradually they realize this is Narada. This very verse is quoted in Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentary to Laghu Bhagavatamrita, where he describes what is. So here the idea is that there is only one Narada, but there are different degrees of perceiving Narada. So corresponding to different degrees of perceiving Narada, there are different contents of the perception of those who are perceiving Narada here. For instance, they initially saw him as just some illumination. So what is that illumination? That illumination is actually a vague perception of Narada. Then they notice that, okay, he has some form. And then afterwards they notice that form has very distinct limbs. Then they notice that form is male. Then they saw that he is Narada. So these are all different contents of perception of the same Narada. Finally, they saw him very clearly. So this is the Gaudiya Vaishnava conception of this corresponds to the Gaudiya Vaishnava conception of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. There's only one Bhagavan. We don't believe in Brahman God, Paramatma God, and Bhagavan God as three separate gods. There's only one God, who is Bhagavan. When he is partially perceived, then the content of that partial perception is referred to as Paramatma. when he is vaguely perceived, the content of that vague perception is referred to as Brahman. Shaktayah kidrishaha viruddhagatayah. What are the different types of potencies that are being discussed here? They are the ones which are mutually in opposition to each other. Vidya vidyayoho, sarga samharayoho, janmavatva ajatvayoho, anihatva sa leelatvayoho, atmaramatva bhakta vatsalyayoho, virodhe api tat shaktinam atarkayeva tvayi nityasthiti eva. Your different potencies, your different features, your different endeavors are mutually contradictory. For instance, vidya, knowledge, and avidya are contradictory. Sarga, creation, and samhara, dissolution, are contradictory. Janmavatva, your taking birth, and ajatva, and you being unborn, that's contradictory. Anihatva, you being inactive, and salilatva, and you being a person who engages in various pastimes, that is contradictory. Atmaramatva, you being self-delighted, and bhakta vatsalya, and you having the feature of affection for your devotees, that is contradictory. But despite these contradictions, it is by your supralogical or logically incomprehensible arrangement that all of these potencies are eternally coexisting. In the Brahma Samhita, okay, well, there's some question here. Yes.
Prabhuji, when you mentioned about Keval Shant devotees who are situated far from the Lord, so these Keval Shant devotees are Brahmavadis?
Yes, yes. Initially they are attracted to Brahman.
And they are different from the Shantaras devotees?
No, in the Shantaras also there are some who have attraction for Brahman. There are those who are more advanced who have attraction for Paramatma.
Oh. And then there will be those, like, are there this category also who have attraction for Bhagavan in Shantaras? They are in Lord's own planet?
That would be mixed. That would not be pure Shantaras.
Oh.
Bhagavan means immediately it implies dasya up. There's a direct connection between one's attitude or degree of desire to serve and what is being revealed to you. Theoretically, everyone knows all these things, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. That we are not discussing that. We are talking about what is being experienced, what is being revealed.
Yes. And Prabhu, one question actually I missed to ask before. It is from purport to verse number 5. May I ask that now?
Okay.
In the last lines, last one or two lines, Prabhupada is writing about revelation by Lord's mercy, and that writing of devotee to glorify Lord is empowered, is possible only when the devotee is empowered. So I was thinking that, like, in Back to Godhead and other magazines, devotees also write. Prabhupada also encouraged his disciples and followers to write their realizations and understanding. So I was having this double mind, because some articles which I have read, it doesn't look like, I don't feel very much inspired with that. So how to have a check that if I am reading this article written by a devotee, it is in line with Shastras, and actually I am supposed to read it or follow or apply it in my life?
No. First of all, see, it all starts with, first of all, Shastra, then previous Acharyas and Shastra, then Prabhupada and previous acharyas in Shastra. And then afterwards, one checks whatever is written by various followers of Prabhupada. That's a proper system of check and balance. Right?
So when Prabhupada is encouraging his disciples to write, he is asking them to write in line with this system.
And that's okay. It's all right.
Okay, bro.
Prabhupada wants all of us to become pure devotee Paramahamsas. And we are all trying also. So whatever extent we are progressing, that is clear to everyone. Whatever degree we are regressing, that is also clear to everyone. So that is all reflected in terms of the thoughts that we communicate and so on, and the actions we engage in and so on. Okay.
Yes, bro.
In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruva Maharaj therefore offered this respectful obeisance to the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda, described here as spiritual bliss. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that this impersonal feature or Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced, but still not able to understand the personal features or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Jnana-mishra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotion service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Now, Prabhupada, to keep things simple for the modern world, which actually has very less sophisticated understanding of different degrees of spiritual realization and so on. When Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Bhagavad Gita also talks about Bhakti Mishra Karma, Bhakti Mishra Jnana, Bhakti Mishra Yoga, Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, and then pure Bhakti. Now, all of this, even when I present it to ISKCON in general, the devotees get completely freaked out because it's just too complicated. So Prabhupada kept it in general, very simple. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Bhakti. Of course, if you want to use that to make it correspond to Vishwanath Chakravarti's analysis, you'll have to say, you'll have to talk about different grades of Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. You'll have to say, you'll have to specify Jnana Mishra Bhakti where Bhakti is predominant, Jnana Mishra Bhakti where Jnana is predominant. Similarly, Karma Mishra Bhakti where Karma is predominant, Karma Mishra Bhakti where Bhakti is predominant. Yoga Mishra Bhakti where Yoga is predominant, Yoga Mishra Bhakti where Bhakti is predominant. So that, if one wants to derive a parallel with the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's analysis, one will have to do further analysis. But in general, Prabhupada kept it simple. Therefore, even though Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about Bhakti Mishra Jnana, Prabhupada is referring to these devotees as Jnana Mishra Bhakta, just to keep it simple enough as a good introduction. Such devotees are known as Jnana Mishra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotion service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Just that we should remember here, this empiric knowledge or this jnana, of course, this itself is the jnana system as taught in the Veda itself. This is predominant here. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth, Dhruva Maharaj offers this respectful obeisances. It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distant realization of the absolute truth, meaning that this impersonal Brahman is the content of the distant realization of the absolute truth. Although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy. Factually, it has different energies working under the headings of knowledge and ignorance. On account of these different energies, there is continually a manifestation of Vidya and Avidya. Vidya and Avidya are very nicely described in Ishopanishad. It is said there that sometimes due to Avidya or a poor fund of knowledge, one accepts the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal. But in fact, the impersonal and personal realizations develop in proportion to the development of devotional service. The more we develop our devotional service, the more closely we approach the absolute truth, which in the beginning, when we realize the absolute truth from a distant place, is manifest as impersonal. People in general who are under the influence of Vidya Shakti or Maya have neither knowledge nor devotion. But when a person who is less advanced and is therefore called a Jnani advances even more, he's in the category of a Jnana Mishra Bhakta, or a devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. When he is still further advanced, he can, now here, bhakti is predominant, jnana is not predominant. When he is still further advanced, he can realize the absolute truth as, he can realize that the absolute truth is a person with multi-energies. An advanced devotee can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the absolute truth, the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are also understood. Devotees who are still further advanced in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. An example is given in this connection by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur of a person proceeding towards a destination. As he approaches, he sees the destination from a distant place, just as we see a city from a distance. At that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. When he comes still nearer, however, he sees the domes and flags. But as he enters the city, he sees various paths, gardens, lakes, marketplaces with shops and persons buying. He sees varieties of cinema houses and he sees dancing and jubilation. When a person actually enters the city and personally sees the activities of the city, he becomes satisfied. Okay, just one. Yes, that complicated portion. What is called? A few words here which are above my vocabulary. So let me just trace it out. What is this verse? This is 4.9.60. 4.9.60. Bhanu Maharaj. Persons situated far from a town cannot understand all the details of the town. They see only an object in front. If they are somewhat closer to the town, they see trees. If they approach near the town, they see it is a town with groves, towers, gates, houses, and flags. On entering the town, they realize it is a place for enjoying with colorful ponds, roads, markets, intersections, arenas, dancing, singing, and instrumental music. Okay. 17. Satyashisho hi bhagavams tava pada padmamashis tatha anubhajatah purusharthamurte apyevam arya bhagavan paripati deenan vashreva vatsakam anugraha katarosman. My Lord, O Supreme Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benediction. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotion service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming king or lording it over a kingdom. That is the benediction of worshipping your lotus feet. To ignorant devotees like me, you are the causelessly merciful maintainer, just like a cow who takes care of the newborn calf by supplying milk and giving it protection from attack. Nano, bho balaka, satyameva tvam mat swarupam janasyeva, किंतु तव सांप्रतिक निष्कामत्वे अपि यथा पूर्व संकल्पमेव फलम अहम दास्यामि गृहाण इति तत्र स्वस्य अज्ञत्वं विवृण्वन् प्रेम माधुर्यम् आशासानः आह सत्येति. My dear child, yes, it's a fact that you have understood, that you understand my true nature, but even though right now you have no motivation, I have the desire to give you what you had previously resolved to attain. That benefit I'm going to give you now. Accept it. So Dhruva Maharaj senses this. Therefore, he elaborates on his ignorance, spiritual ignorance, and he hopes for the sweetness of prema bhakti towards Lord Narayana in the current verse, beginning with Satya. Hey Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tava Pada Padmameva Ashisha Rajya Adeya Sakashat Satyaha Ashisha Paramartha Padam. In comparison to the attainment of various benedictions such as a kingdom, your lotus feet itself is the supreme factual benediction. It is actually the Paramartha Phala. It is the supreme attainable benefit. It is the actual worthy benefit that can be asked for. Kasya tatha tena prakarena tvameva purusharthamurtihi. What is the nature of your Lordship? तथा तेन प्रकारेण त्वमेव पुरुषार्थमूर्ति इत्येवं निष्कामतया अनुभजतः एवमपि दीनान् अस्मान् कृतसकाम भजनानपि परिपातु निष्काम प्राप्य पाद पद्म किंचिन माधुर्य दानेन इत्यर्थः. You are the very personification of all purusharthas. That is dharma, artha, kama, moksha and bhagavad prema. But you are the very personification of that, which means you are yourself the highest goal that is meant to be attained by human beings. So one who has no motivation in this manner simply wants to engage in devotional service for wretched peoples like me who have engaged in materialistic devotional service to you. Even for people like that, you give some sweetness of your lotus feet, which can only be attained by those who have no such material motivations. This is the meaning. Tatra hetuhu. The reason for that, anugraha kataraha, because you are eager to bestow your mercy. बालत्वाद यद्यपि अयम मच्छुद्ध भक्तिं न जानाति तदपि तत्फलं स्वमाधुर्यम् इमम् आस्वादयामि इति बुद्ध्या इति अर्थः. You hanker to bestow your benediction. It means that you have the idea that because this is a child, even though because he's a child, he does not understand pure devotional service to me. Still, let me make him realize, experience, relish the result of my pure bhakti, which is the sweetness of my personality. Vastra धेनुः यथा वत्सकम् अज्ञं स्वम् अभजन्तमपि दुग्धं पाययति वृकादिभ्यः रक्षति च. Just like a cow makes her calf, who may be the calf which may be ignorant and which may not be obedient to the cow, the mother, and still forcefully makes the calf drink her milk, protects her calf from wolves and so on. Tadvat mam swacharana bhakti madhuryam aswadayatu sakamatvadibhyah bhakti vignebhyah rakshatu cha iti bhavaha. So, in that way, may your Lordship make me relish the sweetness of devotion service to your lotus feet. May your Lordship protect me from obstacles to pure devotional service, from desires for everything else, and so on. This is the implication. Dhruva Maharaj was cognizant. Cognizant means aware of the defective nature of his own devotional service. Pure devotional service is without material form and is not covered by mental speculation or fruitive activities. Pure devotional service is therefore called ahaituki, unmotivated. Dhruva Maharaj knew that he had come to worship the Lord in devotional service with a motive to get the kingdom of his father. Such an adulterated devotee can never see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He therefore felt very grateful for the causeless mercy of the Lord. The Lord is so merciful that he not only does he fulfill the desires of a devotee who is driven by ignorance and desires for material benefit, but he also gives such a devotee all protection, just as a cow gives milk to a newly born calf. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord gives intelligence to the constantly engaged devotee so that he may gradually approach the Lord without difficulty. A devotee may be very sincere in his devotional service. Then, although there may be many things wrong on the devotee's part, Krishna will guide him and gradually elevate him to the highest position of devotional service. The Lord is addressed herein by Dhruva Maharaj as Purushartha Murti, the ultimate goal of life. Generally, Purushartha is taken to mean execution of a type of religious principle or worship of God in order to get material benediction. Prayers for material benediction are intended for satisfying the senses. And when one is frustrated and cannot fully satisfy the senses, in spite of all endeavor, it desires liberation or freedom from material existence. These activities are generally called Purushartha. But actually, the ultimate goal is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Panchama Purushartha, the ultimate goal of life. Lord Chaitanya therefore taught us not to ask from the Supreme Personality any benediction such as material wealth, popularity, or a good wife. One should simply pray to the Lord to be constantly engaged in his transcendental loving service. Dhruva Maharaj, being cognizant of his desire for material benefit, wanted protection from the Lord so that he might not be misled or deviated from the path of devotional service by material desires. Yes.
Bro, this cow giving milk to newly born calf, how this analogy or example fits in the case of a devotee who is having desires for material benefit and worshipping the Lord?
Just as a cow takes care of the calf, even though the calf is not hankering to drink milk and so on, because it's ignorant, it's just instinctual. Still, the cow makes the calf drink milk and protects it from destructive creatures like wolves. So, like that, you should also protect me and take care of me and make me relish the sweetness of pure devotion service to you. Please protect me from all these other material desires for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Save me from all of these things. That is, with that in mind, Dhruva Maharaj has referred to this illustration.
So, this, like Dhruva Maharaj is able to realize that this is the defect, but initially he was unable to. So in that case also cow will continue to protect the calf like that.
No, I'm not able to understand your question.
I messed up the lines. Even though the devotee is unable to understand that material desires are bad for him, still Lord will give him protection.
He's praying for that. Just as a cow protects a calf, newborn calf, like that, you please protect me. He's asking.
And if the devotee is not asking for that, then in that case he will get Lord's protection from material desires.
No, if you are not asking for pure devotion service or asking for becoming qualified, if you are not even hankering to become qualified for pure devotion service, in general, the Supreme Lord will not disturb. He will not disturb. You have material desires, you're averse to me, okay, you just go on with your thing.
This question actually came through because we hear that Bengali, that verse, I don't remember fully, where Mahaprabhu is saying that Vishai keno devo swacharnamrit diye Vishai bhulai wo.
Yeah, that is a paraphrase of a Bhagavatam verse. We will see that. We will see that. That is, of course, with reference to a soul who has offered pure devotee prayers, pure devotional prayers to the Lord, and who's hankering for that. But he's also tempted by various material desires and so on. If you carefully see the way Lord Krishna is arranged for material existence itself, it is such that it is to discourage us from hankering for fulfillment of our material propensities. There is the force of time which always keeps destroying everything. So whatever we hanker for is going to be destroyed by the force of time anyway. So in that way, if you carefully analyze, that is why it's called jnana. If you simply analyze this world itself, you will understand it's all temporary. There's nothing here. Whatever we are hankering for, it's all constantly destroyed. So if you simply go through the scriptures and you observe the external world, then itself you understand that nothing here is worth chasing. So you can see that the Lord does not want it. Whether we want it or not, He does not want it, but He's not going to impose it on you. He's not going to force us to do these things.
Yes, bro. Thank you, bro.
18. Maitreya Vacha. Athavishkruta evam vai satsankalpena dhimata Vrityanurakto Bhagwan Prati Nandye Idam Abravit. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj, who had good intentions in his heart, finished his prayer, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees and servants, congratulated him, speaking as follows. Sri Bhagwan Vacha. In Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur edition, 19, 20, 21 are a single cluster. Or is it here? It might. Wait and see. 19. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Vedaham te vyavasitam hridi rajanya balaka tat prayakshami bhadram te durapam api suvrata. The personality of Godhead said, my dear Dhruva, son of the king, you have executed pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. Rajanya balaka iti tava aishwarya spriha swabhaviki eva iti tadaham prayachami iti ukte tarhi swapremanam na dasyasi iti katarmukham tam ashvasayati bhadram te iti ma chintaya. Very nice. Rajanya balaka, O son of the king, this indicates that it is natural for you to hanker for Aishwarya, material opulence, because you are son of a king. So I will give you that. It is an indication that yes, I will give you what you had hankered for. And then Dhruva's face is filled with anxiety that in that case, will you not give me your love for your lotus feet? So then the Lord comforts him by saying, Bhadram te, all good fortune unto you. Don't worry. Premanamapi prayakshami iti apikarartha. The word api can also mean also. So I will give you whatever you had asked for and other things. That means I will also give you pure love for me. Tvaya purvam yatha prarthitam padam tribhavanotkrishtam jigisho sadhu vatma me bruhyasmat pitribhir brahman anyairapyanadishtitam. So previously he had asked for uh, that situation which is beyond, which is superior to the three worlds, and which has not been presided over by anyone in my patrilineal lineage, not my father, not his father, not his father, not his father, nobody up to Brahma. So that he had asked in 4.8.37. What is this? Something is wrong. Oh, this is so big mess. The Lord is so merciful to his devotee that he immediately said to Dhruva Maharaj, let there be all good fortune for you. The fact is that Dhruva Maharaj was very much afraid in his mind, for he had aspired after material benefit in discharging his devotion service, and this was hampering him from reaching the stage of love of God. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.44, it is said, Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam, those who are addicted to material pleasure cannot be attracted to devotion service. It was true that at heart, Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom that would be far better than Brahmaloka. This was a natural desire for a Kshatriya. He was also only 5 years old, and in his childish way, he desired to have a kingdom far greater than his father's, grandfathers, or great grandfathers. His father, Uttanapada, was a son of Manu. Manu was a son of Lord Brahma. Dhruva wanted to excel all these great family members. The Lord knew Dhruva Maharaj's childish ambition. But how was it possible to offer Dhruva a position more exalted than Lord Brahma's? The Lord assured Dhruva Maharaj that Dhruva would not be bereft of the Lord's love, would not be bereft of love of Godhead. He encouraged Dhruva not to be worried that he childishly had material desires and at the same time had the pure aspiration to be a great devotee. Generally, the Lord does not award a pure devotee material opulence, even though he may desire it. But Dhruva Maharaj's case was different. The Lord knew that he was such a great devotee that in spite of having material opulence, he would never be deviated from love of God. This example illustrates that a highly qualified devotee can have the facility of material enjoyment and at the same time execute love of God. This, however, was a special case for Dhruva Maharaj. He was a special devotee, so he got a special benediction. 20 to 21. Nanye adhishtitam bhadra yad bhrajishnu dhruvakshiti yatra griharkshataranam jyotisham chakramahitam medhyam go chakravatsthassnu parastat kalpavasinam dharmogni kashyapo shukro munayo ye vanaukasah charanti dakshinikritya bhramanto yad sataraka. The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, my dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the pole star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar systems, planets, and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls tread around the central pole for the purpose of crushing grains, keeping the pole star to their right. All the stars inhabited by the great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Shukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all others. Taditam sthanam grihana ityaha. So then he considers, Dhruva Maharaj considers that, okay, so please do give me that place. Sorry. The Supreme Lord himself is saying, okay, so I'm giving you a place. Here, take it. Nanyahi iti dhruva nityakshitihi nivasa yatra tat ahitam arpitam. So I'm offering you a place which will be eternally there. It will not be destroyed. It will not be destroyed by anybody else. धान्याक्रमणाय भ्राम्यमाणानां पशूनां बन्धनस्तम्भः मेधि तस्यां बलिवर्ध समूहवत्. So just as bulls tread round a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains, avantrakalpavasinam parasthan महाकल्पपर्यन्तं स्थास्नु. ततः महाप्रलये सति ध्रुवस्य महावैकुण्ठ आरोहणम् इति केचित्. Some authorities say that Dhruva's location or abode will, in comparison to the residence of those who live for more than one kalpa, his abode will be permanent, which means it will be for one Mahakalpa, which is Brahma's life. After that, Dhruva will attain Mahavaikuntha. That is one opinion. ब्रह्मांड मध्यवर्तित्वे अपि श्वेतद्वीप मथुरा द्वारका आदीनाम् इव ध्रुवलोकस्य अपि सुदुर्लभं यत् परमं पदं हरेः इति ततो गन्तासि मत्स्थानम् इति आतिष्ठत् जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णोः परमं पदम् इति ध्रुवस्य वैकुण्ठपद अधिरोहणम् इत्यादि प्रमाणेभ्यः भगवल्लोकत्वेन त्यक्त्वात् महाकल्पवासिनामपि परस्तात् इति अपरे. Other authorities say that Dhruvaloka is similar to Shvetadvipa, Mathura, Dwaraka, and other holy abodes of the Supreme Lord, which are eternal despite being within the Brahmanda. And as evidence, they quote 4.9.28, 4.9.25, 4.12.26. On this basis, it is pointed out that Dhruva's attainment of status of Vaikuntha was because Dhruvaloka itself is an abode of the Supreme Lord, Narayan, and therefore is eternal. And because it is eternal, it is superior to the abodes of those who reside even for a Mahakalpa. Dharma Agni Adayah Nakshatra Rupaha, Vanaukasa Saptarishaya. Dharma, Agni, and so on are nakshatras. And the Vanaukasaha, those living in the forest here, refer to the seven sages. Okay, we'll stop with this. We'll continue from the purport in the next session. Very interesting. Anshakalpadari Vishikipasantubhyo Chapaditanam Pavanebhyo Vishnubhyo Namaha.